Welcome to the Lose Your Big Ass Stomach podcast. I'm your host, Jay Jackson, and my mission here is to help you get rid of that big ass stomach and take back control of your health so that you can look and feel your best by being the best version of yourself, mentally and physically, while destroying the mediocre agenda society is trying to brainwash you into, and breaking our families' generational curses of being unhealthy by being a healthy and fit role model. It's time to set a new standard. It's time to set a new standard of living. If you find the podcast helpful, be sure to hit that follow button because that helps us build a movement. Let's go. Guys, we gear up going into the new year, man. I want to really give y'all some game on things y'all need to be paying attention to when it comes to losing belly fat, when it comes to being able to slim down your waistline and just, accomplishing the body that you want to have. Because I noticed that a lot of people are doing things and you're unknowingly doing these things, not knowing that you're sabotaging your results. You dieting, you working out, but you're like, dang, why this stomach ain't going down? Why I'm not losing this belly fat? I'm about to share with you the things that you're doing wrong that's causing you to not be able to lose belly fat. All right. And so tap in, go ahead and get your paper and pen because I'm about to give you some game. All right. So obviously, if you don't know already, of course you need to be eating the right amount of food. All right. And that goes without saying. You got to be eating the right amount. Now, there's other things that are very overlooked when it comes to, losing belly fat, when it comes to leaning out. And those are the things I want to get into today. All right. So the first thing that most folks don't think about is stress. Yes, guys, stress. Like, a lot of people don't think about this, but there's a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol, when we have a high level of stress, and it's kind of hard to get away from stressing, but at the same time, we can learn how to manage our stress. Like even myself, I go through a great deal of stress, just grinding, hustling. If you're really out here trying to accomplish things in life, you're going to have to go endure a little bit of stress. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's not always good stress. You may be dealing with stress at home, dealing with stress at work, dealing with, stress with different family members, gossip, all that kind of, that's not the type of stress you want to be dealing with. But we all deal with it. We human, right? And so this stress can cause cortisol. When we start to have an elevated level of cortisol, it causes us to hold on to more body fat. Right? I want to give y'all some warning signs that you're going through a great deal of stress. All right, I wrote these things down. Number one, you have trouble sleeping. If you notice that you're trying to get to sleep, but you're having a hard time staying asleep, you're waking up in and out of sleep. When you finally go to sleep, you're like, damn, I keep on waking up. You know what I'm saying? I've been through these different seasons in my life where I'm waking up throughout sleep, can't go to sleep. Shit, be totally honest with y'all guys, last night my ass couldn't go to sleep. So, but if it's a ongoing thing, if it's prolonged, if you notice over not just a day, but I'm talking about weeks where you're having a hard time sleeping, weeks where you're having sugar cravings, you're craving a lot of processed food all the time, you might be going through a high level of stress. I remember when I first started my online coaching, well, even before my online coaching, when I first got into in-person training, actually, I hadn't broken out of my bad habits. And this is me being transparent with y'all. I hadn't broken out of my bad habits of eating junk food like honey buns, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What else was I eating, man? I was eating it all. Oreos with milk, you know what I'm saying? And when I would eat these things when I felt really stressed, I would eat these foods when I felt really overwhelmed with life. You know what I'm saying? And it would always be towards the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be grinding throughout the day and I'm like, man, where am I going to get my next client from? Man, one of my clients just fell off. And this is like early in my career. And I'm like, damn, so towards the end of the day, I get home. Sometimes I'd be at home, wouldn't have no junk food. I'd take my ass right out the house and go to the gas station and get some honey buns or some Oreos. Get back home, eat it, feel terrible, have brain fog. My hands would start breaking out. My hands and feet, I had eczema. It was just bad, man. And so, these things happen from stress, all right? And so you have to make sure that you're managing your stress properly, all right? That's the first thing. Learn how to manage your stress. Understand what your triggers are. Like everyone's triggers are a little bit different. Stress for you, like I know for me, stress for me is not giving myself enough grace throughout the day when I'm going from day to day throughout my tasks throughout the day. Like I just did coaching call with my members a little bit earlier, but when I had first started doing the online coaching, I would just do a task, then jump right to the next task, then jump right to the next task, and that raised my stress level. Like I couldn't even think. I started developing anxiety because of not having enough time in between. And then I learned how to manage my stress by giving myself grace in between each task that I do throughout the day. That's just one way though. Like you want to understand what your triggers are. Your trigger might be when you go to work, you might be listening to certain things that put you in a low vibration state. Or you might be looking at things on your computer that trigger you. You got to know what your triggers are. Everyone's a little bit different. All right? Like for me, when I wake up in the morning, I don't look at no social media. I don't even look at what my clients text me first thing in the morning. I can't do it because it's always something. Whether somebody got a pause, somebody on social media then said something in my comments. And I'm like, damn, why the hell you guys say that, man? Why can't you just be a regular person? Why can't you just be cool? You know? And so different things can trigger you. And so I'm aware of what those triggers are. And so especially in the morning time, I want to make sure I'm in a good headspace. And so I don't look at the things that may trigger me until I'm like prepared and I'm poured into myself. You see what I'm saying? Once I'm poured into myself and I'm going throughout the rest of the day, man, shit don't really faze me because I already poured into me. You see what I'm saying? But you just got to be aware of what your triggers are when it comes to stress. It could be anxiety. It could be overwhelmed because you're putting too much on your plate. It could be maybe depression, man. You know, some folks be depressed. You gain so much weight, you look at yourself in the bathroom mirror, you're not happy with what you see. That could make you fall into a depression. You know, you're not able to enjoy life the way you once used to be able to enjoy life because you gained too much weight. You're not happy with how your body is looking. Maybe you have high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. That can put a person in a depression. You know what I'm saying? You can't find that love of your life because you're not really taking care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? These things happen. And so stress is the first thing, all right? Because it raises our cortisol level. So you want to manage your stress. Number 2, sleep quality. Sleep quality. You know, I see a lot of like when I first started getting into like personal development, I started seeing a lot of different influencers out here saying sleep when you die, and you just hustle, grind. You don't need no more than 6 hours of sleep. Grind. And when I was in my early 20s, I could do that. I could get away with that when I was in my early 20s. But guys, who are we kidding? You in your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s, your ass needs sleep. Yeah, I remember when I was about 22 years old, I could go to sleep at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., being out with the boys, and then wake my ass right up at 6 a.m. and go to football practice at Georgia State University. I could do that. But now, let my ass go to sleep at 34 years old. Let me go to sleep at 2 a.m. Shit, I'm going to have a hard time getting up at 10, at 11. And even if I do get up, I'm going to have brain fog. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to feel like I'm fighting throughout the day to get things done. And that's how important sleep is. Like a lot of y'all who are dealing with food cravings, sugar cravings, feeling tired throughout the day, and that should be self-explanatory, you're not getting enough sleep. And if you don't get enough sleep, that means you don't have enough energy going to the next day. When you don't have enough energy going to the next day, you're craving more food because you need more energy. And so now you're eating an excess amount of energy, and what that costs? Yeah, that big old ass stomach. And then a lot of y'all, you're not eating the right types of food. And so when you eat poor quality food, not only does it cause you to gain weight, now it causes gut health, which is the third thing. All right, the third thing, sleeping is very important. You need to be getting at least 7 hours of sleep, man. If you're not getting at least 7 hours of sleep and you notice that your energy is suffering, you notice that your stress level is going up because not getting enough sleep can cause more stress, guys. All right, then you need to start making sleep a priority. If you notice that you have mood shifts, mood swings throughout the day, you feel irritable, you're feeling angry at times, like you're not normally like that, but you're like that now because you're not getting enough sleep. You got to make sure you get enough rest, man. 7, 8 hours minimum. Once you hit over 30 something years old, 100%, you absolutely have to get sleep. Okay, I remember this is about a year and a half, 2 years ago. My dad was talking to me, and he was saying he had to go get a sleep study done because he was having a hard time sleeping. And the physician, they were like, "Hey man, we got to get this thing taken care of because if you're not getting enough sleep, man, you shaving years off of your life." And when my dad told me that, my heart dropped because that my dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Hey, how much sleep you done got today? Last night?" You know, I was on checking in on him, making sure he getting sleep because you cutting years off your life, and stress kills. You see what I'm saying? So you got to make sure you're getting sleep. Then the last thing is gut health. A lot of people want to lose the stomach, and they want to lose that big old ass gut, but they're still having poor eating habits. You notice that you having issues with like for me, I was dealing with issues like eczema on my hands. I didn't get super big. Like I've been blessed with fairly decent genetics, and early on, I was still eating a lot of junk food. And even though I wasn't gaining a lot of weight and wasn't getting big, in fact, I noticed it with my health. Eczema on my hands. Like guys, my hands used to break out into hives, and then they would dry out, and then my hands would just be flaky. It was like terrible on my hands and feet. And this went on for years, like from like a kid all the way up until my early 20s, until I figured out like, man, all this junk food, this fast food, eating all these sweets and sugar all the time, this is what's doing that to me. Having brain fog in my early 20s, I'm like, man, what is happening to me? It seemed like right after I stopped playing college football, all these things just started to like pile on. I'm like, man, I'm feeling tired all the time. Man, after I eat breakfast, I want to go to sleep. And after I eat certain foods, I'm starting to have acid reflux. Like guys, I used to have acid reflux so bad from the type of foods that I was eating. I literally used to think I was about to have a heart attack. Like straight up, it used to be burning so bad, and even up in my esophagus to the point where I couldn't even drink anything or eat anything without feeling pain. And this comes from a lack of this comes from poor nutrition habits, okay, which causes poor gut health. And so if you want to lose belly fat, this is why I say it's not just about how much you're eating. It's also about what you're eating. All right? Very important. If you notice that you're always craving junk food, you're always craving sugar, you're craving the sweet teas, you're craving the sodas, you're craving the lemonade and the cookies, guys, that's not a good thing. That means you've conditioned your body to crave junk food. Instead, if you started eating more quality food, I'm not saying you got to cut out the junk food altogether, but you need to be. There needs to be like a balance, and the balance shouldn't be 50-50. The balance needs to be something like 80-20, 90-10, 80%, 90% you eating healthy and clean, then the other 10 and 20 you eating your favorite foods. Otherwise, you may find yourself slimming down a little bit, but you still have these cravings that you can't get away from, which causes you to end up going back to your old habits. But when you're eating the right types of food, you don't crave that sugar. Like guys, these foods that you're craving, they have chemicals in them that cause us to want to eat these things more frequently. There's research on this stuff. Like just start looking these things up. There's research on what these different things like Doritos, even like how they have it as a what do they call it, like a triangle that makes people want to eat it more. Like it is crazy the amount of research that these companies put into these foods to make sure that people come back and buy more. And so, are you going to allow yourself to be an addict of food, of junk food, a slave of the food, or are you going to take control of your health? Be disciplined. And then you be in control to the point where you're like, okay, cool, well, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat Waffle House on the weekend, one time. I'm going to eat me a burger with my family. I'm going to eat pizza with my family. And have discipline and structure. It's not that you have to cut it out completely, but if you're doing it all the time, this will cause you to have excess belly fat. This will cause you to have a hard time with losing weight and getting rid of the gut. All right? But once you start to understand how to manage the stress, get more sleep, and then also eat more quality food so that way you have good gut health, I'm telling you, it'd be a lot easier to get that stomach off. All right? It's not as hard as most people think it is. All right, you just have to be intentional with doing these simple things to, make progress. All right. Anyway, hopefully y'all found this podcast helpful. If you did, be sure to hit the follow button, leave your boy a 5-star rating so we continue to grow this movement. And we out of here. Let go. Yo, appreciate you for tapping in and listening to the podcast episode today. Hopefully you found it valuable. And if you did and you want to learn more about how I can help you lose the big ass stomach, transform your body, and get your health on point, DM me real results over on Instagram at JJacksonOfficial for more information. And I'll reach back out to you to do what I can to help you hit those health and fitness goals. Let's get it.